Hi everyone. I think I'm live. If you can see me and hear me well, make sure to comment. I'm very well, Deepthi. Hello, Hari Prashant. I'm doing very well. So just comment if you can see me and hear me well. So basically, this live, I have planned to cover the commonly asked questions that people have asked me under so many different videos and also so many comments that I've received. I thought it'll be easier to address because there are so many people. Okay, thanks for confirming. You all can see me and hear me well. So there are so many questions, generic questions people ask that I cannot answer by text message because it can be misleading. It'll give a totally different meaning if I'm going to just answer under a generic question. So in this live today, I am planning to address more questions related to schools in Australia, but because many people want to travel with families, they want to know about the school systems, how much they'll have to pay for the school fees, and also about jobs. So many people have asked me whether you have to get a job before you move here. That is one common question that I get asked that I want to address. And the other important question that I want to answer is about the skilled visas. When people put in an expression of interest, they ask different kinds of questions like can they have multiple EOIs for different occupation, or they want to do multiple EOIs for different visas. So that is another critical question that I've been waiting to answer in this particular line. So I will cover the general information and then probably come to your questions. So if you have any questions, make sure to comment in the comment section below. I will definitely come back to your questions and answer appropriately. So every Sunday, almost the same time, 2 o'clock Indian time and 6 o'clock Adelaide time, I will do a live, and I've got the communities tab active after I got my 1,000 subscribers. So it'll be more like Instagram stories that I'll be sharing bits and pieces of everyday life and things that I would love to share with you all. And I also told you that I'm happy to help because there are so many videos and so many channels that cater to PTE training and Nati training for Hindi and Punjabi, because that's like widely spoken language. But I think there's not much to cater for Nati Tamil. And if people who have their mother tongue as Tamil, for them to learn PTE. So if you would like some help, kindly reach out to me and I will do my best to help you with PTE training if you wish to have, in general in English, or if you wish to have a bit of Tamil as well. So coming to the general lifestyle kind of a question. So mostly if you take up schools, if you're planning to migrate as a family with children, if you have school aged children, so again school aged is very different from states to state. For example, in Darwin, if you complete 4 years, then you are allowed to go to preschool, and then you go to your primary school, and then there is a separate thing called middle school from year 8 to 10, and year 7 to 10, and then you've got high school. So it's a totally different system in Darwin, whereas in Adelaide, you have to complete 5 years. So my son, my little one, he literally lost 1 year because we moved to Adelaide now. Whereas my older son, he has an advantage. He moved 1 year further because he came from Darwin. So it's state to state, but in general, there is no stress. You need not stress. It's all about 1 year back or 1 year early. It's according to the state that you move. But overall, if you're moving on 491, because 489 does not exist, so 491 people, most of the states, most of the schools have free. The reason why I'm saying it's most, because anything here you can't say for sure this is the case. Okay, it could be One school in one region that you inquire might say maybe they will charge a minute. So it's not like completely free. So for my son, I'm paying $560 per year as the general administration, stationery and uniform and whatnot. So that is like almost free. By my little son, he goes to a private school. So private schools have tier 1, 2, 3. So you've got the basic Catholic kind of schools where it's very nominal, all of us can afford. And then you have the middle level school, maybe 10,000 per year. And then you've got the higher level school where you have 20,000, 25,000 per year. It depends on how much you want to spend and how much, it depends. Completely comes to personal choice. But almost all states and all public schools are free for 491 holders. The only issue is if you travel with little children who are not school aged, because you do not get childcare fees or rebates, and the childcare is very expensive. In that case, both of you, if one person is not working, then it is definitely an advantage. You save that money. But if both of you are working, probably you'll have to work around your shifts, or you will have to invite parents to help you. I think that is one thing that people will find a challenge if you're moving with little children. Otherwise, it's all good. The school fees is pretty nominal, and it is free in most cases, depending on what school you want to go and depending on the suburb, the area that you live. So every primary school is zoned, meaning if you look at the school website, there'll be a zone. So it'll show you a map of which all areas are covered, and that school has to give you the admission in that area. So if you live in that zoned area, in that case, the school is obliged to give you a seat. But if they are full, then the school will help you to find an admission in the next available school in the closest suburb. Okay, so there's no dramas, no issues in finding out schools. It should be a very straightforward process when you move in here. And coming to the most important question that people ask about jobs. Everybody is like, they think if they come here without a job, it's going to be a challenge, it's going to be difficult, or everybody has to get a job. But more than 95% of people migrate here without a job, and then you get used to the Australian lifestyle of finding jobs, or getting used to finding any job that suits you to pay bills. That'll get more important rather than you being very adamant in finding a job that is in your field. So I get asked, so many people ask me, I'm a software engineer, will I get job in Darwin? I am a business analyst, will I get job in Adelaide? No one has answer to that question. Okay, so every state is different, and everyone's personal scenario, your destiny, your karma, your luck, your hard work, your smart work, everything has a role to play. So there's no one answer to saying this profession in this city, you will get a job. No one can assure you that. Somebody with 10 years, 15 years of experience in the real good technology can be unemployed. They can't even get an Uber job here. But someone who is just having 2 years of experience in maybe something like very small or maybe very specific in banking and insurance, they could have got a similar job. So you never know. So this question, no one can answer. So I think it's better for you to come with an open mind, do your bit of research. In so many videos, I've told you, just go to seek.com.au or indeed.com.au, choose a particular city because 491 gives you the advantage to move to any city. Okay, other than Melbourne, Sydney, and Brisbane. So pretty much you have the whole of Australia, the huge country, for you to move around. That gives you that flexibility. 489 did not have that much of flexibility. If a state was sponsoring, then you had to stick to that state, at least as in moral obligation. But 491 does not require you to oblige to that particular state. So you can move around except Sydney, Melbourne, and Brisbane. And so many videos I've told you, if you ask me personally, if you get used to this relaxed kind of a lifestyle, you would not go and live that Chennai, Mumbai kind of life, running around for trains and, run, public transports and crowd and whatnot. But again, it comes to personal decisions. So that's about the jobs that I wanted to address. like, don't think if you come here without a job, it's going to be tough, but come with a little bit of backup money. It's always advised, because you never know when you will get a job. You might be lucky to get a job straight away. You might take some time, depending on how well you get accustomed to the new country, how well you get adapted. So always come with an open mind. You don't plan. I think some people just plan too much, and that's why it gets hard. Okay, someone like me with minimum attention to detail, I'm like, let's just do it. I'm more adventurous like that. Let me just try it. Let's see what happens. And always karma has landed me in something good. So I think it's good to go with an open mind and just accept life as it comes. So it's beautiful. If you think too much, if you think about all possibilities and probabilities, I think that's when it gets hard. So that's about the jobs that I wanted to address as the key issue. The third thing that I wanted to talk about was the expression of interest, because this is something, a very critical point that many people had asked, and I didn't want to answer with a text message. Now, you can, in one video, I had mentioned that you can choose multiple states in the expression of interest. So initially it was like, if you apply for a particular state for a visa, then that state will choose based on your occupation, based on the occupation ceiling, based on your points. But right now they've given you the option to choose multiple states. Now people ask me, can I submit separate expression of interest for different occupation? The question itself sounds very I don't know how to answer that question, because if I'm going to apply for, say, hospitality manager, and I'm going to apply for something very similar in that same sector, then it will make sense. So whatever you are trying to apply for, your assessment reports, your assessment outcome, your qualification, your work experience, everything has to match, everything has to justify the occupation that you're applying for. There's no point in you applying for hospitality manager and say, for example, something really random like software engineer. Okay, so it shouldn't be so random. But when you are applying, you have to make sure that you can justify the roles and responsibilities that is required for that particular occupation. So that's why this question, I kept telling them that I can't answer through text message, because there are so many questions that get asked under a particular YouTube video, which is very generic. And you'll just tell me, I'm a business analyst with 10 years of experience. Will I get a job in Adelaide? Okay, it is very, very generic, which is hard to answer. If I say yes, I'm going to build false hopes if you are not really eligible even to migrate. If I say no, I'm going to shatter your confidence, even if you're an eligible person. So it is very hard for me to give you a false hope and you start building castles in the air. And it'll be very brutal if I shatter your confidence and make you lose that minimum hope that we have. We are surviving through COVID. It's such a tough time. So I'm only trying to give you positive vibes and educate you, and use this time to prepare your best version. So that's the last thing that I want to do by breaking your confidence. That's the reason I can only provide a generic advice unless I know someone's case like top to bottom. That's why when people ask me, okay, some people are really desperate, they want to get onto stuff, and then I get on a phone conversation with them and they'll tell me a story and I'll start drafting the plan, the migration plan for them. And then suddenly when I get a question, they will come up with a story which is so different to what they've said before. There'll be so many hidden stories which might affect their immigration points, which might affect their assessment. So that is the reason you cannot predict someone's outcome. Will I get a visa? Will I not get a visa? Will I get a positive assessment? Based on few words that you throw out in the comments of a YouTube video. Okay, I apologize if I've not responded to any of your comments. This could be the reason. I might be thinking whether I'm giving you a false hope or whether I'm breaking your confidence. Okay, so let's quickly get on to the questions that people have here. So hello everyone. So it's nice to see you all. I'm doing well. I'm planning for 491 and my occupation is HR professional and my occupation is in ROL list. Okay, so if it's in the ROL list, then you are more suitable to migrate to regional areas and look at the occupation capping. So this list that is available at the moment is for the previous financial year. We all know that. So right now, SA has released a very small capped invitations, and that is prioritized for the critical sector that is required at the moment, and it is more for people who are onshore, who are here at the moment. So that's why it might not help people who are offshore at the moment. And Melbourne is also just put out a notification saying prepare yourself for your best application, because this is the time we all have to prepare ourselves for the best PTE score. We have all the time in the world to prepare and do it. Okay, so it's a very I would say we have to wait till October to see how the occupation list is for HR professional. We can't say at this point of time. So we'll have to wait, but make sure you gather all the documents for your assessment for HR professional. HR professional is a very, very generic term. Okay, so go into the Occupation Assessment Authority. If it is VETSS, for example, just go and see what are the roles and responsibilities they have asked to under that particular occupation. Okay, and then make sure your immediate manager has to evidence it. So when they write the reference letter, it's very crucial you crafting a very nice story based on all the roles and responsibilities. So basically you're checking every box off. So when you do that, you have more likelihood to get a positive assessment. Many people fail in the very first step of skill assessment because they will not write, or they will not capture all the roles and responsibilities that is required for that particular occupation. Okay, so my wife's brother got Australia PR last year, and this year end of February month he moved to Australia and staying in Melbourne. Can he sponsor my wife? If he sponsor, is it PR or temporary? Okay, there are two parts of the question. Your wife's own brother can definitely sponsor your wife. So she will be the primary applicant and you will be a dependent, and you can definitely migrate if your points are satisfactory. Just because someone is there, they cannot sponsor you and you can get it. Okay. So the sponsoring means instead of asking for a state sponsorship, your relative is going to give you the points. You can only get those points from your brother or your eligible relative. It doesn't mean if I'm a housewife and my brother lives in Australia, he's a citizen or a PR, he cannot just take me to Australia, if that makes sense. Okay, so I have to be eligible. I have to go through all the processes, but instead of going through state government for a sponsorship, my brother can sponsor me. Okay, that's the whole point. So he can do that. That's one thing. And if he's sponsored, is it PR or temporary visa? So it depends on what visa you're going to apply. So if it's 189, it'll be a sponsored permanent visa. If it's 491, it's temporary. Either ways, whatever opportunity you get, take it straight away. I applied for 190, but my occupation was listed under the CSOL, Consolidated Skill Occupation List. So the outcome I got for my visa was, because your occupation is not on the SOL, you are not eligible for 190. However, we can offer you 489. If you're happy to accept, send this letter back and we will give you 489. So all I wanted was a stepping stone, and I accepted the offer of 489. There is no regrets. Fulfilled all the criteria, applied for 887, got my permanent residency. So don't stress too much about getting your 189 or 190. All you need is an entry and others will just follow. Okay, it'll flow through. So I want to ask, is that list will be going along? Okay, yeah. So we don't know the answer to that question. So the regional occupation list might get revamped. So we'll have to wait till October to see the fresh occupation list for this year. Okay. I'm very well. When will state nomination open for South Australia? Everybody is waiting to hear from all the states. And South Australia, especially now, they're being very generous. And I think even last year, the end of last year, South Australia was giving so much of nominations, and people here were getting stressed. I mean, people who are here, we don't have jobs. Why is this government giving so much of jobs and invitations, and people are going to come here and suffer? But to be very honest, the people and the vibe in South Australia is great. Adelaide is beautiful, except for the dry heat. I mean, I just can't survive the dry heat, but it's just beautiful. So no idea about the GSM visa. That's why when a lot of people in the YouTube poll wanted skilled visas, I'm like, everybody's going to ask me when it's going to open. I wish I knew the answer. Unfortunately, nobody knows, because as you all know, there's so much of political background to it. There is so much of additional stuffs in the background because of COVID, because of financial situation. There's much more to the story. All we have to do is be patient. Okay. So I have no idea about South Australia opening. I've applied for I've applied 491 EOI this June, and I crossed 40 years and I lost points. Can you let me how I can increase my score? You have mentioned very, very clearly, apart from PTE. So apart from PTE, if you want to score marks, NATI is the only option that I can think of at this time. So if you have your regional language listed, you can apply for that. NATI is basically an exam that they conduct for community credential language for translators. So if someone is here and they can't communicate, if they're going to, say, for example, for a court hearing or for some legal issues or insurance office, and they have to discuss with someone, if they can't communicate in English, they can request for a translator. So if I have to be a certified translator, I have to pass that exam. So similarly, NATI is giving an exam for immigration purpose. So it's a 20-minute dialogue-based exam, and it'll give you 5 extra points. It's usually conducted here in Australia in various centers. Now, because of COVID, it's conducted online. So many people are taking advantage of it. And that's why I have a separate video that talks about NATI Tamil. I did my assessment, and, it's just good. But then it's getting booked. So I think now the dates are available only for late February 2021. So if you want to make best use of it, make sure to get onto it. And that's how I think in your case you can boost your points. Scope of mathematics school teacher. Any school teacher has very, very good scope. Okay, I would say even I wanted to be a school teacher, because you get holidays when your kids are on holiday, so you don't pay for vacation care, you don't pay additional childcare fees. But the problem is my PhD, my MTech, my master's was not recognized for a school teacher. They wanted me to do another 2 years of school teaching, which I didn't want to do. Oh my God, I studied all my life and I didn't want to study more. So if you have your Indian education, which can be recognized here to teach, so that you can do that. Or if you come here and do a teaching degree, if you want to do that, you can do it. Teaching jobs are very good. You can enter as a relief teacher and then get a part-time or a permanent role. So it has very good scope. So and maths is very good. Every school has maths everywhere. So it is very, very profession that has very good scope. Okay, I lost track with the next comment. What about university fee for kids in 491 visa? So any college student, or to put it this way, because I've never seen anyone moving with a university aged kid, because in that case you will not be eligible for a skilled visa, if that makes sense. Because if you cross that criteria, probably you'll be beyond that age limit and you will lose points. And that's why I'm like, I got confused with that comment. So if you want to study, if you are a 491 holder, or if your partner, your husband or wife is a 491 visa holder, and if you want to do an university course, then you are treated as an international student. Okay, if that is the answer to your question. If you have your kid, or if your husband or you want to do an university degree, so only school fees, you will be considered like normal domestic people. The fees will be the same. There's not international fees unless in very few conditions, which usually doesn't apply. But university fees, if you're going to do a course in the university, then you're treated as an international student. You'll be paying full fee. But there are few subsidized courses for 491 and 489 dependents. So English course is free. You can go to TAFE, which is a course for vocational training. So you can go there and do free English courses for 491 dependents. So that you can take. There are some childcare and aged care courses that you can do for free. There are a few subsidized training things that you can do. I would do a separate video on that. That's on my to-do list. I just don't get time. Talk about how to invite parents after we come to Australia in 491, which will be the normal visitor visa. Okay, so there is no separate kind of visa to invite parents. If you're on any type of visa, it's going to be a straightforward, a normal visitor visa. But you will be telling in the application that whatever visa you're on, and then you can apply. So if it is less than 3 months, they no need to do medicals. If it's more than 3 months, so I was on a 489 and I applied for my parents for 1 year and I got it. Okay, so or to be on the safer side, you can just apply for 6 months and then you can extend after they come here. It'll be just a bit of that application fee. So that should be good. So I have a separate video how to apply for visitor visa by yourself within 15 minutes. So make sure to check that video. It'll give you step by step. I would have walked you through the entire step. So you can do that. Hello, Sheikh. My score is 65, and if state nominate me, it'll become 80. Okay. We'll apply for 489 visa and my occupation list in. So how much chance we've got visa? Okay. I understand your, my answer is very important. Like I said, I don't want to give you false hopes because we don't know the regional occupation list or skilled occupation list for this financial year. Okay. So in general, considering I'm not going to talk about your profession, I'm not going to talk about anything, but 80 points, I would say is likely, but I wouldn't say you will get. But anything, because looking at the last year's scenario, anything above 80, 85, 90 would get an invitation. So we will have to wait and see how this year is changing the pattern. So if we get 1 or 2 invitation rounds, then we would be able to predict how it's going to be. So 80 looks promising. Okay, I don't want to give you too much false hopes. I don't want to break your confidence. So let's stand somewhere in between. Okay, so 80 should be good. But if possible, if you can write NATI, get 5 points, very good. If you can boost your PTE, very, very good. So try your best to put your best foot forward before we get the list. All right. Can I move to Canada for artificial insemination in instrumentation technician? I have no idea about Canada. In fact, I tried. I had 2 options, Canada and Australia. But at that time, I'm talking about 2014, 15, Canada looked more of a gamble. You just put in your application in the pool and you forget it. After 7 years, 9 years, you get it. I'm not sure what it is now, so I will not be able to comment, but I have no idea about Canada is my genuine answer. Is there any possibility to cancel 2020 and 2021 GSM program? Australia has been facing a lot of unemployment. Very true. Sheikh, I'm very happy you're following Australian news. Australia is facing severe unemployment, and the government is giving so much of funds in the JobKeeper, JobSeeker, and JobMaker, different programs for the citizens and permanent residents. But I can tell you, and I've told you in all the videos, that students, international student fee, and migrants are the backbone of the economy. So there's no way they're going to cancel it because it's not like India, they can just say, okay, this is cancelled. Okay, the day I landed in India, all the 500 rupee notes were no longer valid, all the demonetization. They cannot do it here like that without prior notice, without going through rounds of approval, letting people know. There's so much of transparency involved in every step that the government takes, and they are liable to answer. Trust me, you just can't do it. I just got down from the flight, changed my currency, and I had all stacks of 500 rupee note, and my dad calls me and tells all the 500 rupee note is invalid from tonight. I'm like, damn it, I just changed my currency. So yeah, you can't shock people like that here. You cannot do that. So there's no way. They might cancel, they might decrease the number of invitations. They could bring in some slight modifications slowly, but they will not cancel, is my personal opinion. Can I work in Australian farming, especially in cattle farm sector, in this damage or any kind of uses? Can you say something about them? Okay, this is an important question. Many people have asked me that, they just think they can come for mango picking jobs, they can come for farming jobs and cattle jobs. I know as Indians, we are ready to do any kind of jobs. Okay. We are ready to do any job. We are ready to struggle, survive, and, stay and earn money and help our family. That is us. That is the mentality of people who, as migrants, we want to come and do stuff. But all you need is a legal entry into Australia. And for that, the most possible stream is a skilled visa stream, or a skilled migrant stream. In that case, there are some specific category of farming and other kind of visas that you can get in the agriculture sector, but that's very, very bare minimum. Before you think about these options, you have to just think, okay? So if they can get someone here to pick mangoes and mushrooms and cattle and whatnot, if they can get someone and pay them $20, $25, why would they sponsor someone from other countries to come and do that job? Okay, it's as simple as that. Just ask yourself, there are enough people, though Australia has a very minimum population, it has enough population to cater to these jobs. Okay, so because the students, the struggling migrants are ready to do any job to pay their bills. So in that case, this people, I get so many messages every day that I am a tailor and I have so many years of experience, I can do that, I can do this. I completely understand. You are skilled in your field, you are completely technically qualified, you have all the skill set to excel in your field. Unfortunately, the system has some filters and threshold to limit the people or to filter out the people, and these people who are technically qualified might miss out on that. Okay, I think that's the best way to answer this question, because I get these questions every day. I get so many DMs every day asking, I am qualified in this, I completely understand. And by the time you realize and you struggle with all these financial crisis and family commitments and society stuff, we cross that age barrier, we cross that age eligibility. And when you really think about it, you're like in the mid 40s. And so many people recently I have spoken to are just on the verge of becoming ineligible for the age criteria for skilled migrants. And I feel so sorry for them, because it's all these years we struggle. I've been there. I migrated in my mid 30s, so I understand how much of preparation goes through in your head and how much of emotional things goes in your head when you plan for such a big move, leaving your country, leaving your family, and moving after marriage, after kids. It's not easy. I completely understand each one of you and I empathize, but unfortunately the system is in such a way that it has to filter from the thousands and millions of application it gets to very few people who really qualify those criterias. Okay, so open mind for any jobs, that's the way, Sashikant. That's all you need, open mind for any job. And once you move here, you will either get that very easily, or you will struggle, and finally you'll be like, let me just do any job. Okay, so yeah, it either comes as a compulsion or it'll come very easily. Can you please help me for the processing of work visa? If you're eligible, I can definitely help you, but it can't be just my help. What? I'm just missing out on so many comments. So you can connect with me using the Telegram group that I've got. I will post it in the comments, and you can join that group. And I think that group I started mostly to have the daily motivation and a group to share, for online business and my coaching business. But there are a lot of people who ask more about the immigration stuff, which I really don't encourage, but if that's what people want, then I definitely answer. So you can connect with me on my Telegram group. So Dharma program is a very interesting one. I have literally holded that information on even making videos, because after that it's going to be so many queries that's going to come up to find the Dharma employer and what are the stuffs to do. So I'm just going to wait for some more information for this financial year, and then I'll do a video. So I've told you all the time, I just don't Google information and put out a video. So before I do a video, either it's my first-hand experience or the stuff that I've dealt with. Okay, so I don't want to Google and give you information. There's one piece of the puzzle of Dharma that I'm trying to figure out to get more realistic information, and then I will tell you. I don't want to mislead you, Sashikant. So please hang in. I will definitely answer. Is it easy to migrate as a skilled secondary teacher? Sorry, or is it first applied for masters? So the answer is, if you already have the qualification, I would not want you to spend 2 years of your so many thousands of dollars as international student fee and have limited hours of working condition. So if you already have a teaching degree, if you've worked as a teacher, if you're eligible, apply for the assessment for teachers, get the registration, and then move as a skilled migrant, which is an easier pathway. Okay, but if you do not have your qualification, or if you're qualified, because in India, you can just do a teacher training and do a teacher, because that is not recognized here. So if you do not have an eligible proper education and experience, then I would suggest you come here, do your teaching degree, and then get your life. But if you have both, I would say the skilled migrant pathway is always the better. So please provide the checklist to apply for PR. Yes, it's on my to-do list. Thanks for reminding. It's just that time that I never get to, but I definitely have a long list of PDFs that I want to provide to all of you for PR, like a checklist. And I'm also preparing like a draft template for skill assessment, how to craft that story to get a positive skill assessment with an example. But I've never got a chance to do that. I apologize. Explain on Australia taxes. Okay. Australia taxes. Interesting, because all of us are treated as citizens for tax purposes. Okay. So in that case, you'll be paying a lot of tax. So I don't know what's your specific question here, but in general, I'm not very good with numbers, but everybody pays taxes according to how much they earn. And finally, you can claim taxes based on the work-related expenses that you claim. All right. So I am planning to tie up with a financial person to do a separate video about taxes, because I personally, I don't even check my bank app, how much salary I get, how much tax I got. Okay. I look at some number and I'm like, okay, I'm happy with that number. That's my personal thing about money and taxes. I've lodged my 491 visa application for SA and finished medical. I'm waiting for visa. Yes. So they might be holding on to the outcome because of the travel ban. 491, you will not be considered as a permanent resident or a citizen. So you will have to wait because you will be under the temporary resident category. So because they don't have an outcome for the travel ban, probably your outcome is just under hold. So all you can do is email the department saying that, okay, I'm still awaiting outcome, maybe 2 or 3 emails. Probably they might respond or they might not respond. Usually you will get an acknowledgement saying we've received your query, and if your query is related to this and this, you can find the answer in the FAQs. If not, if it's something crucial, then they will respond. Okay, so there are cases they never got back to me, there are cases they have got back to me. So in this case, maybe repeatedly if you ask, you might get an outcome, you might not. 491 child education fee, how much primary in public school? So as I said, public school is almost free. You'll be paying 500s to 600s per year, depending on the school, depending on the suburb you stay, or if you want to put your child in a private school, depending on the tier of private school, you'll be paying the fees. Myself and my husband are senior software engineer. What is the best time to apply for the visa? Which visa will suit our occupation? Okay. There is nothing called best time or worst time to apply. If the department accepts, it's a good time for you. If the department does not accept, then it's a bad time for you. So senior software engineer, a very generic description of the occupation. So we'll have to wait for the occupation list to release for this year, and then we'll decide. And so many people ask me 491 or 189. Okay, very interesting question. One concept that I always tell people, what is easier is the government is investing so much of money for people to populate the regional areas. So 491 always has more chances for you to get. And because the government is not going to give you much benefits in terms of childcare or other Mediclaim, Medicare you definitely get with 491, but other extra benefits like now JobKeeper and JobSeeker, you will not be eligible. So it's like for 3 years, you'll be paying taxes as a resident, but you will not be getting complete benefit as a resident. So they always prefer that kind of a dealing, if that makes sense. So 189, they have to pay you straight away the benefits. So think it's more of a common sense what the government would prefer more. I'm not saying they'll not give 189. There are chances, but 491 has more chances to get in any case. It's just not for software engineer, for any visa. That's why I always say 491 is definitely a more of a sure shot that you would want to try compared to 189. When should I apply for skill assessment? Today? Right now? Anytime. Nobody stops from applying for skill assessment, because this is the time, like I said, this is the time for you to prepare. By prepare, I mean getting your skill assessment done, keeping your positive outcome ready, written your PT exam, have your PT exam results ready, all your documents ready. When the department gate opens, shoot your application and get your visa. That's how you should be. That's why I've done so many videos on during this lockdown or quarantine or COVID period, because I definitely wanted people to realize that it is not a full stop. Okay, it is the best time, it is the best opportunity for you to prepare yourself. And that is the reason I've done so many videos during this time, because I want you all to know that there is no one stopping you from doing all these stuff. In Australia, it's business as usual. So Melbourne and Sydney have COVID cases. I completely understand they are under lockdown, but all the offices and government organizations are working from home. Okay, so it might not be as fast as it would be in normal conditions, but it's still going on. Okay, work is going on. There's nothing stopping. It's just taken a slow pace, I should say, but the work is going on. So do not stop yourself from processing from your end. If you're going to slow down, if you're going to stop, then the process is definitely going to take longer. Can you please help me for visa processing to the Northern Territories of Australia? So the question is very vague. So help me in the sense it's so generic, it's so general. So what is that? So many people, I'll have to say that, asking the right question in a way that you will get the answer you want is very important. So if you're going to throw a generic question, I would just say yes. Okay, can you help me? I'll say yes, but I'm not going to actually help you because I don't know what you want. You know what I mean? So please ask specific questions, what you want very specifically, so the person who wants to help you can actually help you. Okay, so I'm happy to help if you give me exactly what you want. So when is the best time to apply? 491 visa is temporary visa. When can I apply for PR? What is the process for that once I got PR? Can I work anywhere in Australia? I've answered this so many times. So 491 visa, you can start applying. Like I said, get your skill assessment done, get your other English stuffs done, wait for the application, the skill assessment to open, and then you can shoot your application. And once you fulfill your criteria, you can automatically apply for the permanent resident visa. You can work anywhere except Sydney, Brisbane, and Melbourne. Can I apply for Dama visa? I have no idea about your profile, so I would not be able to advise based on generic information. My daughter is a single applicant for 491. She is our only child. How do parents join her? So parents can join mostly on a visitor visa. So, she'll have more, everybody, visitor visa pre-COVID. I'm talking about the normal life when COVID was not a thing. Any parents, when they apply for visitor visa, gets it. Even after COVID, it'll be the same case when there is no travel ban. So it should be a very, very straightforward, easy approach. I can't wait for this travel ban to end for my parents to come visit Adelaide. They loved Darwin. They were there for 8 months and then they came back for another 6 months. Now I can't wait for them to come back. So, sorry, there are so many different comments. I'm an electrician interested in applying for TSS 482. Can VETSS and TRA, do I choose any if I want to have skill assessment? So normally, I've had cases where I've dealt with people who qualify for VETSS and TRA. I would say go for TRA. TRA has more easy rules because it's more of a trade-related assessment, and anything trade-related, you have more chances to get. Machinist, okay, any machinist here, mechanical engineer, draftsman, operator, such technicians, you have more scope here. Okay, trust me. So go with TRA. Can you brief a little about government schools? So government school is the same as any school. I don't find that huge. It's not, definitely not like India, the difference between government and private schools. It's more about I think the kids, because in that particular zone, everyone goes to that school. You wouldn't want your kids to go. That's why you should choose a good area to live in, because your kids will go to school with the people who live in that area. So anyone will have access to public schools. So it's not like poor people go to public school or, rich people go to private school. It's not the case. There's no such discrimination. Even in Darwin, my son studied in a school where the minister's son was studying in the same, not in the same class, but in the same school. So that's the kind of a life you will live here. So when you're choosing your house, make sure you choose in a good suburb. That will be your very first criteria to choose a house in a locality, because your child goes to the school in that area where every child has access to. So that's something you have to be very careful about. And I'm very careful about as a mother. So there's nothing different about government and private schools that I've seen. It's more about the discipline in case of private schools, and also about the kids that your students join. So it's a very tough thing as a parent to think. We'll think, okay, government school might not be good, whereas the rich kids have access to so many things because they'll have a lot of money. Drugs is a big deal here. If you have boys, I have 2 boys, so I get scared so much thinking about the easy availability of drugs and stuff. But it's about you educating your kids, and it's about the practices you have at home and monitoring the children that your kids live with, or your kids study with. and their behavioral changes and stuff like that, it is a big challenge in parenting, especially as a first generation migrant. When you are half Indian and half Australian, it is very tough for the transition. Your next generation is not going to be Indian at all, so it doesn't matter for them. But for us, it'll be a bit of both, which is a huge challenge, especially in parenting. But we will learn it, and each of us have their own strategies to do it. Okay. So, relative sponsored visa, I've answered about it. ICT trainer, 75 points, including states points for 491. 75, I would assume would be little less, especially in case of ICT, where there's high competition. So I would say try your best to boost your points with PTE or IELTS or NATI, and anything above 80 should be good. But I don't know about the next round. I don't know about the new skilled occupation list, so we'll have to wait and see. But just the number 75 to me looks like, anything about 80, it'll be very good. So about NATI exam, I've got a separate video. You can check about it. And work experience important for, sorry, I missed that comment. Work experience important for skill assessment, of course, yes. So to get a positive skill assessment, you have to be qualified, you have to have the relevant skill assessment, only then you will get a positive assessment. It should go both. Should I get 6 months work experience before applying for 190 EOI? I don't get your question, but based on your occupation, I'm sure you should have more work experience related to the occupation that you're applying for if you're applying as a skilled migrant. So I doubt 6 months would be enough. What is the opinion about working in Northern Territory? Which is the easiest way for an ordinary man to migrate to Australia? Can I apply for any kind of veterinary jobs like artificial insemination or something like that? Okay, I think I've answered. The easiest way is being skilled or get married to someone who is an Australian citizen. Okay, I think that's the only answer I have. But it's not easy like you see in movies, some foreign lady coming to India and getting married to an Indian. It doesn't happen. In most cases, it's very rare. And working in the Northern Territory is very as normal as working in Melbourne, I should say, but the opportunities are less. But it's a good stepping stone, and the pay rates are higher. So it's not a bad idea. So many people were hesitant when I told them I'm moving to Darwin NT, and I had very mixed reviews and bad opinions. But I lived there for 3 years. I can vouch it's not bad. Okay. For 491 can earn taxable income. Yes, I have addressed this in one of my other videos. So 53,900, so 54,000 is not a challenge, I should say. Okay, it is achievable if you get full-time hours. So for visitor visas, if I need to extend for another 1 year after my parents stay in Australia for a year, is that possible, or do that need to go back to India and come again? So it again depends on the condition. So unless, I think there's a condition that says no renewal or no overstay, in that case they can't. They have to go back and then apply. But in most cases, you can stay onshore and extend the visa. So it should be easier to do it onshore because everything is on IMI account. And if you have a current visa, it's easier to do it. Do not go to agent for visitor visa. Do it yourself on IMI account. I've got a separate video on it, and just follow that and do it. Okay. So you can extend it onshore. That's the answer. So we are waiting for applying EOI for 491 when it'll open. So expression of interest is open all the time. You can throw in your application, but getting invitation is the challenge. So do not wait. That's what I'm telling. So many times my throat is dry. You can just apply, do your part, and just wait for the outcome. What is the cost of toddler care for 4-year-old if both parents are working? A very generic question, because 4-year-old in Darwin will be in school full time. So you will pay after school care. If both of you are working in the evening after school from 3 o'clock to 5 or 6 o'clock, it's like $24 per day. Depends on the school, depends on the OSH. But if your child is in other states where they have to complete 5 years, then it'll be a childcare fee. Depending on the childcare, you pay 100. I paid $112 every day, 100% out of my pocket. Okay, that was crazy. So yeah, so that question is very hard to answer because whichever state you're moving to, it will be difficult. So it's easier to bring your parents to, or one of you work part-time, or one of you go day shift, one of you work night shift. That's the bit of sacrifice we do as parents. There were days, 3 or 4 days, I've not seen my husband because he works night shift. I used to do morning shift or whatever. When I come home, he'll be sleeping. When he comes home, I'll be sleeping. So that's the kind of sacrifice we do for family, and everybody has done it. So we all can manage. So don't get scared. My graduate visa 485 application was refused. I appealed the decision with AAT and won the appeal, and now on 485. Will this refusal prevent me? Okay, congratulations on your 485. It will not prevent you from applying for PR. That's the thing about Australia, that you have all the rights to appeal, and because you already won it, which means you are eligible, there's no dramas. This will not affect you. Don't worry. Can contracts works can be considered as work experience where the amount was given on the completion of the project? So even though you'll be on a contract, you will be given money every fortnight or every week. The pay cycle, according to Australian legislation, is weekly or fortnightly. There's not even a monthly salary here. That's not the system here. So there's nothing like, unless you are doing like a business, you are registered with an Australian business number, ABN, and you get a project and you get it, then you have to show it. But I don't understand the purpose of this question, because contract work is considered as a work experience if you are showing it with proper pay slips, weekly or monthly. But you have mentioned completion of the project, which is more like a business, or like a freelancing, or you do under your business number. In that case, that money will be considered. So there's no issues about it. But like I said, it's a vague question, and it's hard for me to predict what you're asking. SA job opportunities, yes, it is very good for me because South Australia is rated as one of the states with highest unemployment. But see, the stats are general, okay? So I got 3 jobs when I moved here in the first 2 weeks, I should say, and I didn't like it, so I was rejecting it. I was showing off that I don't want to do this job. I don't want to do this job. But because I had 3 years experience in Darwin, and I had the liberty to choose. But there are people who've moved to Melbourne, who've moved to Sydney, and they haven't got a job, or they've moved to Darwin. I mean, I got a beautiful job. So like I said, there's nothing that you can definitely say that this job, this place will get you a job. It depends on the time you're applying. You have to know about the seasons you're applying. Say, for example, in Darwin, after October, most of the industry is shut because it's wet season. Okay, so if you're going to Darwin during Christmas, maybe you will find some Christmas jobs. But I'm saying in wet season, there's not much that's open. So you have to know about the culture. You have to know about the cycle of the season. So seasonal jobs, how you can apply them. So there are a lot of factors. Your karma, so many things plays into the job opportunity. But job opportunities are everywhere. It depends on how smart you are to identify it. If you walk in a road filled with cafes, just walk and talk to them, and you can get a cafe hand job. You can get a dishwasher job. You can get a barista job. So things like that. So go through the videos, because the ones that I post goes with a lot of thinking and what you benefit. You give me 10 minutes of your time. I definitely treasure those 10 minutes that you provide to me. And I think every minute, because that's the reason I don't do any kind of BS kind of videos, just time pass stuff. These are vlogs. People, I thought they would be keen to watch such interesting stuff and vlogs and stuff. I'm not keen, but my friends suggested I do these vlogs. But I, honestly speaking, I'm not a person who will vlog and show you stuff here. But maybe to just tell you, okay, this is how it is here. So that's the kind of thing that I want to do. And it's not to just have a flashy thumbnail and a hook and bring you into the video just to waste your time. I'm not the type, and that's not the purpose of this channel. Can I try 42 employer sponsored since I've not gotten any reply from NT since December? Okay, sponsor would be a challenge, I should say, to be very, very honest. But hold on, you have to understand the world is going through a very uncertain time, and all we have to do is be patient for the government to come up with some outcome for the travel ban. And so they are doing in phases right now with international students. They've just started with the pilot schemes, and slowly they will start to incorporate. There are a lot of temporary visas, like Vista visa was given on compassionate grounds. So they are doing their best to accommodate people's request. I understand it's our life and our personal scenario, which is our priority, but we have to understand as a country, they have so many pressures to handle, and we'll have to just wait. Okay, I think it's 1 hour now. Thank you so much for each of your time, and I hope I've done justice to all the questions. So if you have any comments, any questions, reach out to me in the comments and be specific so that I can answer you. I'm willing to help, but you have to ask for the right help, okay? And join in the Telegram group if you wish to get some personal advice, motivation. That'll be more of motivation stuff because it's always boring to talk about Australia visa and stuff. We could talk about it a bit, but not all the time. Okay, so I wish you all, I don't believe in luck, so I'm sending you positive vibes. Be positive wherever you are. Australia migration is a huge step, but that's not the that's not the only thing. So that we have much more things to do. Even if you're in any part of the world and you want to do some extra hustle, earn some extra income, be motivated, have some purpose to life, and live every moment. You need help. Make sure to reach out to me, and I'll definitely help you. Yeah, if you need some help with online businesses and side hustles, Deepthi, I strongly suggest you join my Telegram group and reach out to me, and I will definitely help you in doing this. Okay, because I understand all of us who want to migrate might not be in a position to migrate, but it doesn't mean it's the end of our life, end of the world. So be positive, hang in there. And I am so thankful to each one of you to have that trust and giving me your time. And every Sunday, I hope to be connected with you to answer your queries. And I'll see you all next week. Thank you so much. And I'll see you all.